A man has been appearing everywhere for a couple of weeks now, on Instagram Reels, YouTube, and possibly even in your nightmares. At first, I ignored it, but when I saw how he clung to his opponent's legs even harder than you cling to your ex's fake affection, I knew I had to look into this. And unfortunately, he doesn't have a long career to make this a volume 1, but we can still talk a bit about him and his unique style. Today's protagonist is a kind of Paddy Pimblett, but German, pumped up with steroids and with a laugh that you probably could have heard in the Middle Paleolithic. Frederic Vosgrone. There are few details about his birth, but it is known that he was born around 29 years ago. Saying this blonde Germanic guy is nearly Google-proof, with limited sports and educational info available about him so far. Coincidence? I don't think so. What we do know is that he started his Jiu-Jitsu training around the age of 16, supposedly inspired, and much to Grimm's dismay, by UFC video games, since they featured submission techniques, and he liked that. Since then, he has won many medals in international competitions, including titles at the Nogi Championships in Amsterdam, Charlotte, Dallas, Lisbon, and Paris. The city of love and filth, among others. In 2020, he won the Polaris 13 competition by defeating Ross Nichols in the final, which became one of his most famous victories. In 2021, he transitioned to mixed martial arts. For a while, he was training in England, but he would eventually end up at the UFC gym in Germany. And in his first fight inside the cage, he faced someone named Erhan Okorolu, whom he dominated with his grappling. He controlled him on the ground, worked him over, and in the end, finished him with an arm triangle. In his first fight, his physique was decent but not extraordinary. You could tell he worked out, but nothing superhuman. After this, he took a 3.5-year hiatus from action. Upon his return, the chicken, rice, and vegetable diet seemed to work wonders for him as he was already starting to bulk up. His second fight was against Chris Fisher, whom he finished in under 20 seconds with a heel hook. In his third fight, he won by heel hook, a victory that would make Overeem proud. Then comes the fight against Yorick Montagnac that would catapult him to social media recognition. In fact, if we analyze the fight closely, we'll see that his dark-skinned opponent employed the correct strategy. He would strike from a distance, and when Vosgrone tried to close in, he would push him to reopen the space and return to striking range. If he had continued striking, he could have further damaged Vosgrone's body and potentially worn him down enough for a technical knockout victory. Or maybe he could have secured the rounds to win by decision. But this Germanic caveman knew how to do his job, and all of this remains a possibility and a maybe, and it never happened. Vosgrone takes an aggressive approach in his fights, constantly looking for the finish. This mentality is reflected in the cage, where he has managed to submit all his opponents. There are 4 so far, but well, he has done it. His aggressiveness may seem excessive to casual viewers, but his attacking style is more of a bluff. In fact, his aggression manifests as constant pressure on his opponent, forcing mistakes and capitalizing on them. The guy is a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and he has shown exceptional grappling mastery, but he's almost exclusively a grappler. His ability to control and submit his opponents on the ground is one of his main strengths. His skill lets him dominate strikers, neutralizing their attacks and controlling the fight space. At least until now. Vosgrone's approach is clearly grappling, and it translates into a specialization in submission techniques. Wow, I can't find any flaws in his logic. His ability to identify and execute his effective missions has been key to his success so far. This specialization allows him to capitalize on any opportunity to finish the fight, regardless of the position he's in. So far, he has attacked the legs with heel hooks and the upper body with arm triangles. Due to his Jiu-Jitsu experience, I'm certain he has the skill to execute many other techniques. The thing is, up until now, he hasn't had the opportunity to do so. Vosgrone's comprehensive physical preparation, which includes strength, endurance, and agility training, enables him to sustain a high pace throughout his matches. As I said before, he constantly pressures his opponent. At least so far, he hasn't been seen running out of steam. It's also true that no fight has gone past the second round. With his experience in Jiu-Jitsu and grappling, which are cardio-intensive, he shouldn't have a problem. However, Neanderthal's style isn't perfect. He currently has some holes in his game. His striking is very limited. He doesn't use it as a means of attack, but rather as a means to an end. He closes the distance and tries to take down. Many grapplers who transition to mixed martial arts often have this problem. Not everyone can be Diego Lopez. I imagine that now he's working to fix this weakness, and maybe soon we'll see him try for a knockout. However, examining his striking training reveals he's still quite inexperienced, which is problematic. His grappling-based style has been effective so far. At some point, he might face an opponent who can defend his takedowns, which could be a problem for him. If this is his style and he knows striking isn't his strong suit, what he's doing is the smartest approach. For a grappler, it's better to follow Khabib's approach than Ronda Rousey's. Not only is his offense bad, but his defense is also nearly non-existent. This was proven in his fight against Montagnier. Although he didn't knock him out or put him in serious trouble, he landed several clean shots right to his face. If any of those had enough power or enough precision, it could have led to a different outcome, but that wasn't the case. What I do see as possible is that if he faces a truly skilled striker, a fighter with previous experience in Muay Thai, kickboxing, or boxing, but who also has good takedown defense, the chances of him getting his face battered with punches are
high.
His current record is a perfect 4-0, with all victories coming by submission. What I do believe, at least for now, is that he is where he needs to be. In second-tier European promotions like Octagon, and that's fine. This allows him to gain experience and improve his record, but if I put him in a top-level promotion like Konfrontacja Sztuk Walki or Cage Warrior tomorrow, he could have a really hard time. So I think he's where he needs to be, and he's managing his career in a pretty smart way. It's not impossible, but he would have to improve his record and obviously really work on his weaknesses. That's enough to threaten guys in the subdivision, but not quite enough for the UFC. Because if he makes enough noise and keeps doing things the way he's doing, I wouldn't be surprised if some big shot took notice of him. Because if you're able to bring in the numbers, and with that, the money, this means the UFC will likely notice you, especially with a good record. But to be able to stay there, you need to have a level that matches the demands of the promotion you're in. Leaving aside all the more technical stuff, this guy cracks me up, honestly. From what I've seen, people laugh at him a lot, which I find interesting. He knows what he looks like. He knows he's a pretty strange guy. And I think this makes him likable. For example, I find him likable. The fact that he's so strange, so pleasant, and with everything I just told you, his dedication to professional mixed martial arts makes him a formidable product when it comes to selling himself. Do you see it now? Yes, if he can improve his striking, maintain his social media presence, and improve his record, I predict a meteoric rise for him. If that's not the case, even so, with, let's say, the charisma he has, I think he can go far, even if he doesn't end up in the UFC. What's your opinion? Do you think we'll see him fight in the UFC in a few years? Or will he just fizzle out as quickly as he arrived and simply disappear from social media? Let me know in the comments, I'll be reading them, and thanks for being there.